What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Danmachi. Now, there isn't a lot to talk about today. We did get a little bit of news last week, so I'm basically just going to recover what we got, and we'll kind of, like, dive deeper into a few of these things. But first things first, the new JP bundle is dropping. This is the Hero Bundle. This comes with both Prism Bonds, you know, a 4-star guaranteed 11 draw ticket times 2, 2 11 draw tickets. Basically, it's the bundles we've had before, but you know, all combined into one, so expect it to be pretty expensive. At this juncture, while these are good, and this is all new units, like basically from since 3rd anniversary forward, they're sort of worthwhile. I do like the fact it gives you Prism Bonds. I've been very vocal about how I think Star Bonds are a lot easier to come by than Prism Bonds, but, you know, ultimately, you don't want to blow your entire budget on this if you have to budget like that, because remember, Part 2 of the anniversary is dropping next week, next Wednesday, and when that happens, there's going to be new banners, there's going to be all new stuff, so you probably want to consider saving your whale power for then. Just throwing that little knowledge nugget at you, so you guys can properly, you know, plan for what's incoming. But if you do want to acquire this, definitely I wouldn't blame you. 100 secret hammers, 100 secret hammers. That shouldn't be a tongue twister, but it was. 100 mystic bellows, 100 large whetstones. You know, this is a worthwhile thing, but it is very expensive and expected to be probably not half the price, or probably not double the price. I can't talk this morning. What is going on? Probably not double the price of the previous ones, maybe like 60% more. So it's going to be a pretty good value, but, you know, once again, for me and for where I'm at in the game right now, personally, I'm saving for Part 2. Even my paid stuff, I'm saving that for Part 2. So that's my 2 cents of this, but if you do want to buy it, it is a fantastic value. Also, do bear in mind, I didn't include it here, but the beginner bundles are still available. If you haven't bought those, they're 300 paid. I did a whole video on those alone. Those are 100% worthwhile. Even for people who have been in the game for a while, like, that bundle is almost a necessity. It is so damn good. If you haven't seen it, I'll put my video in the description down below so you can check that out. But I did a whole video on how worthwhile it is, and it really, truly, honestly is. So make sure you guys aren't sleeping on that one. Let's move on. Wargame is coming back. Now, the interesting thing about this here, I dropped a whole video yesterday on the new system, which I actually could see replacing this in a way. So that system is really interesting because it's all about the team build. And where we thought this one kind of was, in Wargame, you could really climb ranks and you can, like, go really far before you run into some troubles. They're not so much. The difference being there, it's like you can get baited into fighting some teams that have just insane synergy and are really, really, really good. And regardless of being lower rank, pretty much, for the most part, everybody's the same rank. Here, people climb ranks faster, people get... It's going to be rare that you come across a hero team when you're, like, you know, jumping through, you know, Perseus or Braver. So, plus, obviously, the Iris rewards here are really, really, really good. So hopefully this doesn't go anywhere. It does a little bit seem redundant, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Wargame and the new PvP system, do you think they're redundant? Or could you see them standing on their own? Because I don't know, I almost feel like the new one is like Wargame improved. But Wargame does have context for, you know, for the franchise, for the anime, the light novels, and whatnot. So maybe it'll stick around. Plus, if they did replace it, they'd have to give us something else that gives us Iris rewards. And I do like the fact that it alternates week by week. One week we've got a PvP event, the next week got a PvE, and so it really gives you something to do. So hopefully it doesn't go anywhere. Hopefully I'm just blowing smoke. But it does feel a little redundant, and I would like maybe a new PvP system or a new AoE system that's instead of PvP, maybe it's another, you know, PvE system that is I don't know. There's so many things they really could do. I don't know where I'm at on that subject. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Let's move on. 7th Zone is back. not a huge amount to talk about there, guys. Make sure you finish your 7th Zone Stun if you haven't already. As you guys already know, 7th Zone is a really easy way. You gain a little bit of Iris, but you really gain materials needed for rehammering and for weapon ascension. Can't say enough about it. I've done whole videos on it. In fact, I did a whole video this weekend on it. So I don't want to dwell on that much because Familia Rush will be back this Thursday for those of us. It's Friday for people in JP, Thursday for most of us on the Western Hemisphere. I do emphasize that I'm obviously in the United States at Eastern Time, so wherever you're at in your time zone, you can adjust accordingly. But Familia Rush is back. And if you guys, a lot of people watching this are new at the game. If you're new at the game and you're not in a Familia, you need to find a Familia. You need to find one quick. Because once this kicks off, well, you can't do anything about it. And if you're in a Familia and you want to leave, you have to wait 24 hours before you join a new one. So if you are not a Familia, if you're scouting for new Familias or whatever, act quickly. I believe we still have a little room. Our OG Chestia is full. I believe Chestia EU is full. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I think it is. But I believe Chestia 2 and 3 do have very limited slots open. So if you're not in a Familia, consider going in the description down below. Join our Discord. In the Discord, there's the Familia applications section. It's a Google form. Fill it out. It really takes no time whatsoever. And we'll review that and hopefully be able to get back to you. But yeah, at the moment, I believe our two of our 3 U.S. Familias are currently looking for people. But once again, I can't promise that. But we'll keep an eye out for it. So, Familia Rush coming back. Now, to get into this, we don't have the cells. Usually by this point, we have like the cells on it. We know what the foes are going to be. We know exactly what we're going to be looking at. But I can tell you right away, foe number 1 is going to favor the new AoE units. It always does that. It most likely will be wind, maybe water, but most likely wind favorable, I should say. It will have effects that will favor those new units. So if you've been summoning on the recent banners, you should be in good shape. But it will be 5 units. You will have to use an AoE team. And yeah, that should pretty much be that. You basically, if you've got everybody new, you're good to go. But it is going to be AoE, and it will favor wind and probably water to a lesser extent. Fight number 2, and if you're not familiar with how Familia Rush works, if this is your first Familia Rush, basically there's 3 different foes you're going to fight, and more or less they go in ascending order. I believe Rush is the one where 1 opens up each and every day, and whichever one you can get the best score on, that's the one you fight. So, when 2 opens up, fight number 2 is going to be either 2, probably 3 foes, if I'm honest. Favor water, most likely. Could still favor wind, hard to tell there. But it will favor both in some capacity or another. But this one will probably be water over wind. I'm just guessing. I don't know. But most likely one of the 2. Once again, though, if you got the more recent units, you're going to be good to go. Of course, they are going to prefer that your units are max limit broken. I know that's kind of a really rough and rugged thing. I haven't dropped my video on it yet. I guess I should probably drop it soon. If you guys haven't max limit broken your units, there are ways you can do that free to play without having to go hit the paid banners and whatnot. You will have to be picky about it, and you will have to have played the game for a while to get it, but we'll do a whole video on that. And I apologize, that should have been out a couple weeks ago, and actually I dropped the ball on that one, unfortunately. But fight number 2, I digress. 2, probably 3 opponents, and most likely favoring water over wind, though most likely both will have significant boosts against the enemy. Finally, fight number 3. This is the big one. This is the big bad, and this is going to be single target. It's basically to work. These last fights generally work like a mini record buster. Now, when we get all the details, we'll make a whole video just on each Familia Rush opponent alone, and of course Familia Rush by itself alone. But unfortunately, right now we are kind of in a situation where we don't have a huge amount of details. They just haven't dropped it on us yet. And I would imagine we'll get those probably by the end of the day, maybe tomorrow, and I will cover them when they're here. But for now, just know this is coming, and know you need to be part of a Familia. If you're not part of a Familia, there are Iris rewards and a number of rewards for participating in this. So you need to make sure you're in a Familia to take advantage. If you're not in a Familia, you can't take advantage of this. And, you know, that just kind of is what it is, unfortunately. But, yeah, this is hype. Though, like I said, it is going to favor the new units, so hopefully we're able to get them at least up there. So, Familia Rush. And that kind of gets us to where we're at. This is last year's page. Now, one thing I do want to say, Sears Lunchbox was suspended. If you were lucky enough early this morning, it actually did let you re-up it. I missed out, like, by a really slim margin. But it's gone now for a hopefully very short time. I'm going to guess probably about 30 days. And then they'll bring it back most. I mean, they're going to bring something back. But it'll probably have skip tickets and whatnot. Who knows what else is going to be in that bundle, but it should be back here within 30 days with some really, really, really hype items. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it's about the same price. If it's under $10 and it does include some skip tickets and maybe even some Hero Fallen or something like that, then it'll still be super worthwhile. But can't wait to see what they do with that. That, unfortunately, was this morning. Now, it does say, or actually, technically, according to this yesterday, but I can tell you from experience, I logged in this morning, and it was technically still there. So, it is what it is. 7-8. Remember, this is 7-7 for most of us. That's tomorrow. JP 4th Anniversary Bundle Hero, we talked about that. That's dropping. 7th Zone is dropping, and Ultimate Wargame is dropping. Now, Thursday for most of us, like I said, Friday for JP, Familia Rush Season 24 is dropping. So, I've talked about that ad nauseum. Unfortunately, we don't know exactly what's happening. We don't know everything that is coming. But we do know it's going to be stages. Familia Rush is the one where basically, you know, rank 1 opens up, then 2 days later rank 2, and then 2 days later rank 3. Just whichever fight you can get the best scores in, do it. You don't have to fight 3, or you don't have to fight 2 if you're better scores in fight 3. But if you're better scores in fight 1, definitely take advantage of that. But it's just going to open up sequentially. Every couple of days a new one opens. And basically it'll start Thursday, most likely run through the weekend, Monday or Tuesday next week. Every single day you need to set a score. And then after that, you're good to go. So, take advantage, guys. This is the news. Like, comment, share. Wasn't a huge amount to talk about, but there was some important stuff. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll catch you all on the next one, which we got to review the story. We haven't done a story review yet, so expect that here really soon. Maybe later today. Fingers crossed. Got to check the schedule.